Hey, it's that time. Y'all already know what it is.
So our topic tonight is simply this: I'm really just not that into you. And we're going to talk about how do you know you're really just not that into them anymore. Because some of y'all be hanging on way too long. Some of y'all be in denial. But we're going to talk about
Hey,
that
listen,
tonight.
let's get on here. Let's get on. Get your people on. Get your folks on. Get your family on. Get your friends on. Get your boo. Get your bae on. Welcome into Sheltered In.
I am Dr. T, Tracy Knighton, Nova Counseling. That's right. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Georgia. Whoop. Soon to be more states. We're just waiting on the word. Whoop. And this handsome, good-looking dude right here in this red t-shirt that matches mine. Listen, if y'all got his number, can somebody give it to me? No, I'm just joking. This is, you gonna tell me who you are?
My name is Lawrence Knighton. I am the enlightenment specialist with my relationship movement, and we love enlightening you. The people who are watching, yes, we love enlightening you on these conversations that we have. Tonight's conversation is going to be very good. I promise you may want to get out pen and paper. We like giving information.
Yep.
Not too much, though, because if we give you too much, then you won't keep coming back watching us. So we want to make sure we don't give you too much, but just enough to keep y'all coming back to tune into us for Sheltered In with the Nights. And we always have good conversations. We like to keep it real, raw, and relevant. No chaser.
Sometimes
It gets a little rough.
it gets a little rough, but that's okay because we're here to help. We are not here because we are experts. We are here just because we are experienced and we want to share our experience with you. All right, so our topic tonight is simply this: I'm really not that into you.
I'm really not that into you.
But some of y'all are in denial about that. You just yet holding on.
Let's get started.
You just yet holding on. Even though you really not that into him. Even though you are really not that into her. So tonight, we're going to let you know that you really need to let it go. Y'all ready? All right. So, y'all know how I like to do. I like to start us off. Make sure we're all on the same page. Make sure we all reading from the same sheet of music.
That's
Make
right.
sure we got all the same background together. So listen, I thought about our topic for tonight. And here's what I did one day when I was putting the puzzle together and I got down to the last few pieces. And I was getting frustrated because I saw a piece that looked like the piece that I needed, but I couldn't get it to fit into the puzzle. I was almost finished with the puzzle. The puzzle was looking good. I was proud of myself. But I was missing this last piece that I had in my hand, and I was looking at the piece of the puzzle, and I was getting it. Y'all know how we do as kids, and you trying to get it to fit, but it just would not fit. It looked like the right piece of the puzzle. It almost fit like the right piece of the puzzle. I could see similarities in the big piece of the puzzle and the piece that I had in my hand. Okay. But truth of the matter is, it wasn't fitting in the space that I needed to fit in. Oh. So I got up and I got a piece of paper and I drew the piece of the puzzle that I needed from the big puzzle. I drew it. And so I went in and I cut the piece that I had in my hand that I wanted to fit into that puzzle. And I cut that piece to fit into the puzzle, only to realize that when I put that piece in there, it didn't really look like what was going on around it. Okay. Come to find out that the piece of the puzzle that I actually needed had fallen on the floor.
Ooh.
It was the right piece of the puzzle. It fit perfectly when I put it in the puzzle. It looked like the surroundings of the puzzle, the rest of the puzzle, so it fit perfectly with the picture of the puzzle. So what did I end up having to do with the piece that I cut? Well, I found out where it was supposed to fit, and guess what? It no longer fit because I cut it. Because I made it fit I tried to make it fit in a spot it didn't fit. So when it did go to where it was supposed to be, guess what? It no longer fit there either because I cut it. So what I'm trying to get you all to understand tonight, that some of you are in relationships or ships, whatever you want to call it.
Situationships.
Some of you are in places, because I ain't even going to limit it to ships. Some of you are in places that you shouldn't be because you don't fit. So what you're busy trying to do now is make yourself fit in a place you don't fit.
Wow.
So what ends up happening is once you decide that you're going to leave a place where you don't fit, you may not end up finding the right place because you stayed in a place too long where you didn't fit.
Wow.
So listen, tonight we just want to share with you, and this is how we always do. So if this is your first time joining us with Sheltered In with the Nightons, listen, we love engagement. He has his iPad. He's going through the comments. We pick up on what you guys are saying. We read out what you guys are saying. We're interactive. We engage. We like that. So make sure that if you've got comments that you're sharing with the rest of the people that are on, and make sure that you are sharing with your friends who are not even watching us yet because they need to know this topic. There you go.
Let's talk. Let's go.
All right. So I got some things for you. I want you to think about it like this. What about how we engage with one another? When we think about being in denial, what are some things that we see with ourselves that we know and we're like, wait a minute, am I really in denial or am I just simply going with the flow? Let me help you. Sometimes going with the flow really is denial. You just making it look good.
Oh my.
I'm just being honest. That's the therapist side of me. Stop going with the flow sometimes because that's just you trying to sugar it up and make it look pretty and putting lipstick on a pig. The truth of the matter is you're in denial. So tonight, our goal is to help you get out of denial. So let's talk about it. I'm not really that into you. And here's how you know. Here's how you know when you're really not that into a person. Here's the first way. Y'all ready? Here's the first way. The first way is there's a change in communication.
Oh my.
We just gonna go right off the rip. Let's just snatch that Band-Aid off tonight. Because the truth of the matter is simply this. If we don't identify it, if we don't fix it up, if we don't take care of the boo-boo, guess what? It gets worse and it gets toxic. So the first thing we're going to do is just rip that Band-Aid off, and let's talk about the first thing here. The first thing here is there's a change in communication. So sometimes that looks like lack of communication, whereas before, y'all had great communication. Whereas before, y'all used to talk about anything and everything. Whereas before, y'all used to stay up on the phone, and y'all remember when y'all used to do that, stay up on the phone talking all night? Y'all used to do that. Y'all could talk about deep things sometimes, or some things that y'all felt were deep. Because we had a show on some things not so deep that y'all be talking about.
Right.
Y'all be swimming in the shallow. But anyway, there's the lack of communication. And then there is text only. Whereas y'all used to have phone calls, now we're reduced to just texting. And those texts be short sometimes. And they lack conversation. Am I hitting home already? Okay.
Let me interject with that texting piece real quickly, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
One of the worst ways to misinterpret conversation communication is through text messaging. Because generally a person actually reads a text according to how they're feeling.
They're filtered. Go ahead.
Listen to me now. According to how they're filtered, if you want to use that word. So here,
no,
watch
I like
what I'm
what
saying.
you said.
So watch what I'm saying here now, because we have relegated ourselves to text messaging. So you had a disagreement, and now y'all are texting each other. Grow up. Did I say that? I'm sorry. Listen, don't continue a conversation about something that you had a disagreement on via text, because one person is going to misread what's being written in a text message, and things are going to get out of hand even further. Wait until you can have a face-to-face conversation.
Right.
That way there's no misinterpreting what's being said. And not only that, but body language speaks to 60% of communication. You can watch body language and tell a good part of what is really being said. Listen to me good now. Listen to me good. I'm trying to help some of y'all to understand. You have allowed yourself to be relegated to a text message.
Right.
You're telling me that you feel like you're not that important, that you can't have a phone conversation? Really? Ooh. Have we gotten to that point in our lives where we are put in a place where the only thing she or he wants to do is text you?
Right,
and you
right.
are okay with that? Are you serious? Reevaluate your thought process on that, young lady, young man. Reevaluate your thought process on that now, because social media is fine, text messaging is fine, iPhone, Android, whatever you got is fine, but it's not fine for communication that's going to help you to know what each other's thinking, feeling, saying, or whatever the case may be. So listen, one way to know that I'm really just not that into you is when communication starts to change. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Patterns are always set in relationship. And if you watch the patterns and the patterns start shifting, believe me, something's changing. Did y'all get all that?
Did y'all get up? I'm just checking. Because that was a lot to take in. I'm sure. And if it just hurt, just say, ouch, we good. That's the truth. Sometimes the truth does hurt a little bit. Remember, we snatching the Band-Aid off tonight because we just going to deal with this grown folk style. The first way that you might not be that into them anymore is a change in communication. And all of that was still point number one, a change in communication. Listen, y'all try to have discussions, and the discussions in the, hey, how you doing? And y'all like two ships in the night going opposite way. Don't say nothing to me, I ain't saying nothing to you. Your room over there. I'm just saying. So, how do you know I'm just not that into you? Is number one, there's a change in communication. All right, number two, y'all ready? The second way that you know that I'm just not that into you anymore is this: there's a change in their actions. And he talked a little bit about it. Yep, patterns of behavior. So let's talk about these actions. Listen, there's a change in the way that you all interact with each other. That synergy, that energy that used to be there, it ain't none of them. Ain't no spark nowhere. Y'all ain't feeling each other. You used to get excited when you knew they were coming around. You used to want to be in their presence. You used to want to engage with them. But way number two, there's a change in their behavior. Listen, it's getting tight up in there. It's tense up in there. Y'all don't even want to be around each other anymore. There's a change in their behavior. So here's some things that I was thinking about when I was talking about this.
All right.
When you try to make plans with them, notice I said the word try. They come up with excuses for not wanting to be in the plans. I'm talking about lame excuses. I'm talking about vague excuses. I'm talking about any old excuse not to show up to somebody's birthday party, not to go out on a date with you, not to go out of town with you, not to come over to your house because you're having a small get-together. I'm talking about any old excuse.
Are y'all listening?
Not to be around you. There's a change in their actions. There's a change in their behavior. Remember, he just talked about these patterns of behavior.
Patterns are always set.
So when those patterns begin to change, we as women, and I'm going to pick on us for a few minutes here. So
let this be their night they get picked on.
Don't let it get tight. It's okay. Just relax. Just it's okay. Here's the first thing. Number one, when there's a change in those behaviors, what do y'all usually do?
Make excuses for them.
You weren't going to let them answer?
No. I ain't want them to be in denial about the answer and make excuses.
Yes.
Well, he had to work. Hey, listen, let me say this, because I'm a little older, I'll forget what I was supposed to say. So there was this young lady that messaged me the other week in regards to her relationship. And she said that they rarely see each other because he works almost 24 hours a day. It's true. She messaged and said he works all the time and we rarely ever see each other. I said, listen, there's nobody working that much.
No.
Then again, I take that back. Yes, he is. He's working, but he ain't working the way you think he working.
Oh, I'm done.
Yes, he working the midnight shift and leave there, go and work the, what they call that shift, the overnight shift, what they call it? The graveyard shift. He had to go to work the graveyard shift.
But it ain't a good
I said to her, I know you can't be that naive and believe that the only time y'all see is about an hour to a day. Out of 24 hours. That's 7 days a week, too. I'm not making this stuff up. It's right here in my messages. Don't be that crazy. Yeah. Let me talk to some of y'all who watching me. Don't be that crazy. Good and well, they ain't working that much. Tell them to show you a pay stub.
What?
Or tell her to show you the pay stub.
What?
Come on now. Don't be that crazy. Are y'all listening to me now? Go ahead and say what you're saying.
I can't. I'm still on the pay stub. All right. So there's a change or they break plans. So y'all got plans and then all of a sudden they don't come through. He got to go to work. There's a change in their behavior. Here's the second way. We're still under change of actions. Here's the second way. You're trying to make plans, but they're not willing to commit. So like, hey, you know what? I need us to go out of town Saturday. And they're like, I'll let you know. Favorite words. I'll let you know. and you still wait.
Well, y'all share this video. I got a lot of stuff I'm gonna say tonight. I'm just waiting till my next point come up. I'm really gonna go off the.
Let me hurry so you can get to your points.
You're doing good.
Yep. Here's another way that there's a change in their actions. They give you vague or lame excuses. I don't know if my mama might want me to do something that day. What? We talking about we trying to go out of town next month. How your mama might want you to do something that day? Yeah, they're trying not to be with you, but in the end, here we go. You that piece of the puzzle that ain't quite fitting. So here you go, trying to make yourself fit in a place you don't belong anymore, because they're just not that into you anymore.
Let's just say it like it is. They're not really even trying to make time for you. That goes both ways.
Wow.
And you still...
That hurt. That just really hurt.
You know, where if they're not trying to make time with you, they're making time with somebody.
Let's see.
Are you listening to me, Linda?
Ouch.
Are you listening to me, Larry?
Ouch.
Are you listening to me?
Ouch.
Let's talk.
So, there's a change in their behavior. Listen, when they once want to be affectionate with you, I ain't necessarily talking about sex, because everything don't always be around sex. Sometimes they would just text you. Sometimes they would just hold your hand. Sometimes they would just want to hug you and all that. All of that stopped. There's a change in their actions. There's a change in their behavior. You remember when they used to just come over and just want to hug and kiss all of you, and now they come over and just plop on the couch?
So, for instance, a person may work day shift, another person may work night shift. So when they get off, they're going to work. So that's a whole different ball game. But when the weekend comes and y'all both are off, and it's like, I'm just tired right now. I don't feel like doing anything. Fine. Because if a person really wants to be with you, they will make time to be with you. Are y'all listening to me? Don't you let nobody tell you, well, I'm tired.
What?
Well, come on over to the house and go to sleep then. That's what you used to do when you were trying to get it. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. You can come over there and get it and then go to sleep. Or go to sleep and then get back home. I'm sorry. That's all right. Y'all take it out the tape. Take it out. I'm going to take it out. Take it out. Let's go. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one.
Listen, there's a change in their behavior. Men will... We did. Okay. I talked about the affection. That's what we
I want to go right here. Okay. You notice that they interact or engage better with others than they do with you. You can't skip over that.
Go ahead.
I must have missed that one. Have you ever noticed sometimes how either husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case may be, they have way more conversation for other people than they have for you? Now, if any of y'all have ever experienced that, I want you to just hit a little hearts. You may not be on here, but I know somebody is.
I can't hit a heart, but go
So
ahead.
listen though, have you ever noticed how they have way more conversation for somebody else than they have with you? And they're excited when they're around somebody else and the conversation just exciting. And you're like, you talk to them way more than you talk to me.
Yes. And who is this person?
I'm really just not that into you. I'm sorry. That's a sign that they're really just not that into you. If they can have all this conversation for somebody else and they're real short with you, there's something going on, Linda.
Or they come in the house and they're on the phone and they are definitely engaged. While they're on, but when they hang up the phone,
they go into the room, go into the man cave, go into the woman cave, whatever y'all got.
It's radio silence. You hear crickets. You can hear the crickets outside in your house. Yep. Listen, that's a sign that they're just not that into you anymore. So stop being in denial. Here's another way. So the first way we said was that there's a change in communication. The second way we said there's a change in their behavior. All right, so here's the third way that you know that you're just not that into them anymore. You begin making excuses for their behavior.
Oh, I felt that.
You begin making excuses for their behavior. We are so good at this because we want so bad to make relationships work. We want so bad to be the missing piece of the puzzle that we will do anything sometimes we can do to fit into a place where we just honestly don't fit.
I think you need to handle that whole conversation.
I'm just saying.
Making an excuse for their behavior.
Listen, here's what we do. We will sit there and make an excuse for them showing up 3 hours late to an engagement. We will make an excuse for them not showing up in a place where we're supposed to be a couple showing up together. We'll make excuses for why they stood us up at a family barbecue and everybody looking at us because they already know that he's with somebody else. We make excuses for why he can't come over when it's time for him to be there. we'll make excuses knowing our intuition has kicked in and told us. Because remember, we have a sixth sense, ladies. We will listen, we will hush, we will curse our intuition only to make ourselves fit into a piece of the puzzle that we don't fit in. I'm just saying.
Making excuses for their behavior. And it's all because a lot of times we want our family to still have the thought process that everything is good. So where's such and such?
Oh,
well, he had to work overtime. He went over to his mom's house. He went over to his dad's house. He went somewhere because you got to make it sound like y'all are still lovey-dovey. I'm in love. And you want them to think that everything is still fine. Watch this while you're crying on the inside.
Yes. Or while you trying to hush your intuition that's screaming out to you that something is wrong.
Something just ain't right. Y'all know y'all intuition be telling y'all that. Stop playing.
We know.
Hit them hearts because you're telling the truth.
We know. We just be in denial about it. Listen, when you've got to make excuses for him, when you've got to sit there and say those excuses out loud, all you're doing is belittling who you are. Every time you make an excuse for him,
you're diminishing you.
There you go.
You're diminishing.
He literally took the words right out of my mouth.
You can't do that. Don't put yourself in a position where you're making excuses for someone else's behavior when you already know with the sixth sense that God gave you. I'm talking to the ladies now.
That's it.
Now, some men are developing a more discerning spirit, but we ain't got no sixth sense. Don't fool yourself. So let me just say this to the ladies who are on here, because some of y'all have not been on here when I said this is true. Okay. Don't you think for 1 minute that God, notice I said God, gave y'all a sixth sense. Now, normally we have the five senses, right? 5 S-E-N-S-E-S. Some of us ain't got 5 C-E-N-T-S, but that's a whole nother conversation. But 5 senses. I'm just being silly, I'm sorry. And so ladies, hear me good now. Don't ever get to the place where you start trying to, what's the word I want to use? Where you start trying to stagnate or try to bury, that's the word I'm looking for, the sixth sense that God gave you. Because when you start to try to bury the sixth sense, your extra intuition that God gave you, the only person that's going to suffer that is going to be you. Did y'all hear what I just said? I'm going to say that again. Put it in layman terms now. Stop ignoring what you know to be true.
That's good right there.
That's all I'm saying.
Stop ignoring what you know to be true. Because every time you make an excuse for him, you are diminishing who you are. Plain and simple. So now you frustrated, trying to come up with lies to make him look good.
Why?
Just asking.
And no. I don't want to just make this look like it's just the fellas that do this. The ladies who do it for the fellas. But some of y'all fellas be doing the same thing. Because you're so in love that you're overlooking what you know to be true. She running with a bunch of other fellas. Did I say that? I'm sorry. But some of the ladies just as raunchy and ratchet. But the point I'm making is, fellas, you already know. Stop acting like you don't know. Right?
Yep.
Can we talk?
Every time.
Can we talk for a minute? Girl, I want to know your name.
So, while he's singing
number four.
While he's singing all these songs tonight, I can't. Y'all, this is what happens when you live with someone who loves music. Here's the fourth way. Y'all ready? The fourth way is this. You're having to reassure yourself about the relationship. So instead of getting validation and confirmation from the other person, you having to reassure yourself about your relationship. Really?
Say that one more time.
You're having to reassure yourself about the relationship or whatever ship you in.
Can I put that in layman terms?
Please do.
I think what she's really trying to say when she says you're having to reassure yourself about the relationship. In other words, you're trying to convince yourself that you got something that you don't have. So I like to use just layman terms, regular everyday language that you can grab. You at a point where you just trying to tell yourself you got something when you know you don't. So you have to, I'm going to put it what she said now, you having to reassure yourself about the relationship.
Just break that on down for him, honey.
Did I break that down? Go ahead, talk.
That's you. You go ahead.
No more needs to be explained on that. They already know what the deal is. Stop trying to tell yourself you got something when you know you don't.
Ooh. And some of y'all, can I just gonna be real?
Don't be real.
Some of y'all have come up with this lie. I'm gonna just call it what it is. It's a lie. You are lying to yourself saying, I'd rather just have a piece of man than no man at all. You're lying to yourself that you would rather just do that. You would rather be one of the many instead of just the one. That's a lie. And that's a sign that he's just not that into you. If he's willing to let you be one of the many. And that's a sign that you're just not into him if you're willing to allow yourself to be one of the many, knowing that he has other women.
My body's here, but my mind is on the other side of town. That's what some mama's saying.
I'm confused. What?
That's what they say.
I can't with him tonight. I don't know what he's doing. I'm just along for the ride. So y'all got these. Y'all ready for the fifth one? Here's the fifth one. You start trying to change yourself to fit them. Again, you start trying to change who you are, what you like, what you stand for, what you believe, how you dress, how you act, what you eat, what you drink. You start trying to change all of that. You don't even recognize yourself in the mirror no more. But anyway, you start to change all of that so that you will, what? Fit them.
That's when you know that you're on the verge of putting yourself in a place of danger. Let me just say it like that, because I don't believe that it's necessary to go to real extremes to try to make someone want you. I believe, in all honesty, that God created us to be who we are, period.
Right.
End of discussion. He didn't create me to try to fit in to be somebody I'm not. Because here's the thing that I say. It just hit me. It just came back to my thought. If you spend all of your time trying to be somebody else, how will anybody find the real you? That came off the top of my head right there. I don't have anything else to say other than that. So let me say it one more time. If you're spending yourself trying to fit in, to fit somebody else's life,
who don't even want you,
how in the world will somebody who's deserving of you find the real you?
I like that. Who's deserving
How?
of you? You so busy trying to be a piece of a puzzle that you don't even fit in.
Gosh.
Just saying.
Are y'all listening to me? One of the things that you don't want to do, hear me. Don't get to the place where you're changing everything about you. Now you don't even know who you are.
Right. You so busy trying to fit into somebody else's life who doesn't want you that you don't even recognize who you are. So now you're becoming unhappy yourself with who you've become because you don't even recognize you anymore, trying to fit in with somebody who doesn't even want you because they're just not that into you. Listen, we are talking about tonight, I'm just not that into you. And we're talking about it from both sides because we as women will do things to try to fit and be a piece of a puzzle that we know we don't fit in. We know we don't fit, but we're so busy trying to make ourselves fit that we make ourselves unavailable for a puzzle that we actually fit into, for a space that we were actually designed for a relationship that actually brings out the best in us, for a relationship that actually magnifies and maximizes who we are and who they are. But we're so busy trying to fit into a puzzle that diminishes who we are, that takes away the best of us, that makes us doubt who we are. And so tonight we want to help you to be able to identify that you're just not that into them. That's the truth of the matter.
I really wish that we would really get to the place where we do a self-analysis and really just ask ourselves, am I really being true to myself? There's a phrase that says, to thine own self be true. You know, very simple, to thine own self be true. The question is, are you being true to yourself as it relates to what you're expecting? Are you being honest with yourself as it relates to you knowing that a person is really not that into you, but you're still going along just to get along? Really? You've got to do better because, listen, Time is filled with swift transition. Some of y'all who know that old school church song, you know what I'm talking about. And the point is,
I have no
you
clue
got to
what
get
you're
to the
talking
point where you understand that time is filled with swift transitions. We don't know what's going to happen, but the thing is, I am not going to live my life miserable for nobody. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. God didn't put me in the world to be miserable.
Listen, are y'all listening?
And you wasn't put in this world to be miserable. No.
That's it.
If you're having more sad days than happy days,
In this ship, whatever that ship is.
man, listen, you're doing yourself a grave injustice. If you're experiencing more sad days, crying days, whatever, you're doing yourself a grave disservice. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. That's not my job. My job is to really help you to understand that you are more valuable than that, than to keep putting yourself in positions and situations where it's crushing you to go through day by day just to have a relationship. No. Some of y'all are so good at trying to heal somebody else while you're killing yourself.
Oh,
Did I say that?
you did.
That's worth repeating. Some of y'all are awesome at trying to heal somebody else while you're killing yourself.
So, think about that for a second.
Ooh.
How many of y'all can honestly say that you were in a relationship that, I almost cussed, that darn near killed you?
You cussed?
I'm just saying, not kill you in a physical sense,
I ain't never heard you cuss.
but darn near killed you, who you are at your essence. If that happened to you, just throw up a hand. I just want to see.
Deuces.
Exactly. Some of us have been in those relationships that we knew we didn't have no business being in, that we knew we just were not that into them, or they were just not that into us anymore. But we did everything we could to stay in a relationship that we knew we didn't fit in, that we knew we didn't belong in, that we knew brought the worst side in them and also brought the worst side in us. But we wanted to make that relationship work. And in the end, the truth of the matter is, I'm going to just be real. Can I be transparent? The truth of the matter is if you had stayed in that relationship, you would be dead. And I'm talking about a physical death at this point.
Oh, my.
I'm just asking.
You're not asking, you're telling.
I'm just asking.
No, you weren't asking, you were telling.
When a relationship, when you got to make excuses, when you see a change in their behavior, when you see a change in their communication, when you've got to make excuses, not reasons, when you've got to make excuses for them not being in place, for them not showing up, when you've got to reassure yourself where you belong in this relationship, listen, this ship is not for you. And I almost cussed again.
My name is Pastor Lawrence Knight, and I approve this message.
I started to say that crap ain't for you, because it's not. It's not doing anything for you. It's making you feel worse. Your self-esteem has diminished because of this relationship. Who you are has diminished because of this relationship. Your worth is based on somebody who don't even give a worth about you. Let me say that again. Your self-worth is based on somebody who doesn't even give a worth about you. I'm just saying. I'm trying to keep it real, raw, and relevant so y'all can get this. Listen, if he's just not that into you, go find somebody who is.
Why gotta be he?
You didn't let me finish.
Go ahead.
See? Listen, if she's just not that into you, listen, elevate your game, because there's some higher fruit out there that's just waiting on a man like you. Number 6 is you. You go.
Here's one of the things that I want you to, we're going to flip this around for a second. I want to give you give you a couple of things to get to the place where you don't allow yourself to continue to be in a situation where they're really not that into you.
Right.
Here's one of the things I want you to do. This is like flipping the switch for now.
Okay.
What I want you to really do is get to the place where you acknowledge your true feelings. Acknowledge your true feelings. What are your true feelings really saying to you? That they're really not into you? Is that really what your true feelings are saying to you? If so, it may hurt, but you may have to do something about it. Are y'all listening to me? It may hurt, but you need to make a decision to do something about it. It's not going away on its own. The only person that can change the dynamics of that thought process is going to be you. This goes for guy or girl, whoever's watching me, whoever's listening to me. I'm saying to you, acknowledge your true feelings. Acknowledge what you have been saying to yourself. Acknowledge the little something ain't right thoughts that's been popping up in your head. Acknowledge that she's changed. Acknowledge that they're just not treating me the same. Acknowledge all that and then deal with it. It's okay. Things change. People change. People grow apart. It's okay. It's life. Yeah. It's life. Life changes. Life happens. And you got to be okay going with how it changes.
Right.
Because it's either you cut your losses short early, or you continue on in a situation where you're not acknowledging your true feelings, and at the end of the day, the person that's going to be more torn, more scarred is going to be the person that has not had the courage to acknowledge their true feelings.
That's it. And I hear people say all the time, I'm a person that don't really talk about my feelings. Well, guess what? Don't talk about your feelings. Don't acknowledge your feelings. Guess what? Good. What ends up happening is this. You end up damaged. You end up scared. You end up not being able to manage and emotionally regulate. And like Big Brother LK said, you become emotionally homeless.
Speak on that again.
No, because we're going to do a whole show on that. So y'all need to come back because we're going to talk about emotional homelessness. We're going to do a whole show on it. Come on.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep.
So yeah, we want you to acknowledge your true feelings. Acknowledge your true feelings. The second thing I want you to do, I want every one of y'all ladies and men to write this down. Write this in the comments. Listen to me, guys. I want all of y'all, if you will, those who hear my heart, write this down. Take back your power.
That would suggest that you gave your power away to someone.
Right, and most times they have.
Because I'm going there. Who took away your voice? Who took away your power? Who said you were less than? Who said you didn't deserve it? Who said you wasn't good enough to have the best? Who said you weren't good enough to be in a relationship? Who said that man wasn't good enough for you? Who said that you're scarred now and you're damaged goods because you've been divorced? Because you had a child out of wedlock? Who said just because when you were little you were molested, that makes you no good for a man right now? Who said because when you were little you were molested, that makes you no good to be in a relationship with a woman right now? Who did all of that to you? And why is it showing up in the relationship you're in right now? Because that person's just not that into you. When you know who you are, when you know what your wants, your needs, your expectations, and your non-negotiables are, when you know the power of your own voice, when you know how to show up for yourself first, and then you show up for other people, when it's time to exit stage right in a relationship that does not bring out the best in you.
Are y'all listening?
I'm just asking.
Now we start talking about taking back your power. I want y'all to hear me on this. Because a person, hear me good now, this is my heart speaking. Because a person has a lack of interest or they're just not that into you, watch this, that does not mean for 1 second that you're not valuable and wanted by someone else. Did y'all hear what I just said? I'm going to say that again.
You fit in somebody else's puzzle.
Listen to me good. I'm going to say it one more time. Just because someone gets to the place where that they're not really that into you, what you start thinking is that apparently there's something wrong with me. No, it may be a good sign that something's wrong with them because they can't see the value in you.
Right.
Are y'all listening to me? So you can't let anybody diminish, or you can't let anybody get you to the place where they steal your self-esteem, start making you feel like something's wrong with you, start making you feel like you're not valuable, start making you feel like you're not wanted by anyone else. You've got to take back your power. Now, let me see if I can get a witness on here tonight. Is there anybody on here that you can honestly admit tonight on this live, they just really weren't into you and you start feeling bad about yourself, thinking that there was something wrong with you, and you got to the place where you go, wow, I can't believe, I don't know, something wrong with me. Some of us, if not most of us, have been in a place where we allow someone to take our power, take how we really felt about ourselves. You were cool with yourself before you ran into that nut basket. You were cool when yourself started telling you ain't nothing, you ain't gonna never be nothing. No, you were good with yourself until he started taking your power. And guess what? You relinquished it to them.
Yes.
So now what I want you to do, just because a person doesn't seem as if they're really not that into you, take back your power.
That's it. That's what we want to leave you with tonight. You need to take back your power. Listen, they're just not that into you, and that's okay. you're just not that into them, that's okay. Wipe the slate clean, let's start over. But let's stop trying to fit into a puzzle that you no longer fit into. I know Norma Brown wrote in there before, don't fit into the puzzle, but don't get lost in the maze either.
That was good.
Don't get lost in the maze. If they're not showing up the way you need them to show up, exit stage right. I don't care who they are. You ain't got to make excuses for nobody. Don't make no excuses. Because remember, every time you make excuses, you're diminishing yourself. You're giving your power away every time you make excuses.
So this is what we're going to close out with tonight. Free yourself.
20. Free yourself.
Are y'all listening to Fantasia? If I make you miserable, if you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Let me tell you what you do. Go ahead and free yourself.
Go ahead and
are y'all listening to me?
and don't talk to me. Go ahead to someone else. It's the first book. Listen, you don't want to not have this in your library. What'd you say? You ain't got no library. What? Let me help you start your library. Here's our second book. It's our friend Shamika Dean. She wrote a book, Positioning Yourself to Be a Wife. That's right. Positioning yourself to be what? A wife. This is our second book. These are the books you need to start your library with. Yeah, did I get that right? These are the books you need to start in your library.
Any first timers on here? First timers. Come on, first timers. Y'all on here, first timers. Let me see if y'all on here, first timers.
Y'all got first time on there? Is your first time on us? We appreciate you guys coming on with Sheltered In with the Knightons. Our daughter just walked in, so we want her to come in and say hey to everybody.
Y'all can't tell her, listen, you can't tell me this ain't my twin now. Don't play. That's my twin.
That's
Hello,
the twin.
everyone.
So that's our daughter. That's our little one. So again, thank you guys.
If you got a title that you want us to deal with, hit us up. We'll be glad to talk about whatever you want us to talk about. We keep it as real as possible.
real.
Listen, also before you get off, Dr. Tracy Knighton, you can look up Nova Counseling and Consulting, Nova Counseling and Consulting here on Facebook, or you can go to novacc.net. Nova, N-O-V-A, which means no one ventures alone. See on Facebook. Hit me up, Lawrence Knighton, if you want to, Lawrence Knighton. Go to My Relationship Movement. However you want to find us, we're on here. Just hit us up. We appreciate y'all coming in. Now, we appreciate y'all coming in, talking to us tonight, and we don't take it for granted. But we thank y'all so much for your time, for your effort, all that good stuff that you guys do with us every single week. And we're going to close out. See y'all. Peace.